Our science experiment was looking at what will happen to a kiwi over 2.5 weeks left out in the open.
In this science experiment, we used the following materials: a kiwi as our specimen, a digital weight scale to tell the weight of our specimen, a digital temperature probe to tell the internal temperature inside the specimen, Google Docs to keep track of our fruit changes, and a computer where our Google Docs stood on.
Our hypothesis was that our kiwi would turn dark brown with a touch of light colors like yellow or green. We also thought it would get mushy and softer. We thought it would lose 6 grams of weight, maybe more. We also thought our kiwi would get much colder. This is because when fruits have lots of juice, it grows mold faster, and sometimes fruit can even get a little titch of yellow or even green.
The manipulated variables is what's changing during this experiment. Time is what's changing in our experiment, and as a result, our fruit is changing its shape, color, and texture.
The control variables are what cannot be changed. These included the starting weight, the size of the kiwi, the science lab, and the light.
The responding variable is what we are measuring. In this science experiment, we are measuring the kiwi's internal temperature, the weight of our kiwi, and all of the qualitative information like texture, size, and color.
Our daily procedure in the lab was to go onto our computers, go to the class homepage, and get on our Google Doc. The handler would take the fruit to the front of the room to measure the weight and the internal temperature of the fruit, and then record the data on a piece of paper.
The handler would tell the analyzer the weight and temperature, and the analyzer would type the info into Google Docs. The analyzer also calculated the difference in temperature and weight. The digital documenter takes a picture of our specimen and posts it in the Google Doc. He or she also types the date, time, and observations.
For the 2.5 weeks in the science lab, our kiwi changed significantly. The color of our fruit changed from green to blackish brown. As it got older, lots of mold started to grow. The smell of our kiwi was quite bad. At first, it smelled really delicious, but as time passed, it smelled like garbage.
The kiwi's starting shape was a semicircle. As the days passed, the kiwi started to change shape, first in a lumpy snap peas, then into a lumpy box. Our specimen started at 57.9 grams and kept on losing weight every day. By the last day, it was 19.2 grams. It lost 38.7 grams. Our specimen was first very cold because it just came out of the refrigerator, but by the end of the 2 weeks, it warmed up by 3.6 degrees Celsius.
Once we had finished recording our information, we had to organize it for analysis. The first thing we did is made a new sheet in our Google Doc, then copied and pasted our quantitative data. Next, we added 3 new columns. The first one was difference in weight from previous computer. That means that our computer calculated our difference in weight from previous to make sure our info was accurate. The second one was difference in weight from starting computer. It is the same thing except instead of previous weight, the computer calculated the difference in starting weight.
Third one is difference in temperature. Our computer calculated the difference in temperature. We did all this by using punctuation buttons. We subtracted our starting weight from our current weight, our previous weight from our current weight, and we subtracted our internal temperatures from our ambient temperature. The reason why we did this was to make sure our info was accurate.
The blue line in the weight chart is the starting weight. The red line in the fruit's current weight. The yellow lines are the difference in previous weight. The blank spaces is when we didn't record our data. Those days were the weekends. Our fruit was a kiwi that started at 57.9 grams. In 2 days, it lost 4.7 grams. Then over the weekend, our kiwi lost 12.2 grams. On the next 4 days, our kiwi lost 8.5 grams.
Next weekend, the kiwi lost 28 grams, but that weekend was for 3 days. On the next week, Our kiwi lost 6.9 grams. Our kiwi only lost weight. It never gained any weight. We wondered why on weekends our kiwi lost more weight than in the weekdays.
When there is a bar below the ambient temperature, that means the ambient temperature is colder than the room temperature. The empty spaces are weekends. On the first day, our fruit is so cold because it probably came out of the refrigerator.
Then our fruit went above the room temperature, then gradually got colder. Again, our fruit started to go below the room temperature. Next, it got warmer for 1 day, then colder for 2 days. The warmest our kiwi got was 0.3 degrees Celsius. The coldest our fruit ever got was 2.1 degrees Celsius, not including the first day.
In conclusion, our hypothesis was partly accurate. The kiwi did become mushy and soft like we thought it would. It did not become entirely brown, it changed more of a blackish brown. The kiwi did not become colder either. The temperature instantly went up, and then dropped, and then went up again. We thought it would smell like rotten eggs, however, it smelled more like garbage cans. We believed it would lose 2 or 3 grams over the weekend, and lose 1 or 2 grams every day. It actually lost more than that. We also didn't even consider that maggots would grow and live in our specimen, but by the end, there were lots of them, and even some fruit flies.
Some questions we still have about our kiwi and this experiment include: we wonder how our fruit will look like if it was left out in the open for another 2 weeks. Why did our kiwi have maggots and the other kiwi did not? And how could we keep fruit with lots of juice not rot over 2.5 weeks?
We learned to always keep a fruit in the refrigerator so it does not smell up your kitchen and not have maggots everywhere. Also, we learned that you should not leave fruit on your counter over 2.5 weeks.